Hey guys, Gareth97 again. This time with a review of the 1/144 scale Hybrid Universal Century Unicorn Gundam Unit 2 Banshee Norn Destroy Mode. And that's one hell of a name for one hell of a mobile suit. Starting with the color scheme, we have a very nice, very dark blue. It's not quite black, even though it could have as well been black, but just very dark blue. And then for the inner frame, for the NTD, we have very nice clear orange. And this is really nice, really dark, and it really fits in well with the overall theme. Really goes well with the dark blue. But what doesn't quite go as well with it is the gold. It's a bit too orangey, and when compared to the unicorn mode, it's not actually quite as nice. So all of the colors are identical on these two, except for the gold on the horn and on his collar here. And in that aspect, the unicorn mode is unfortunately a lot better, because this is also very nice and smooth. And here, I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up, but you have those lines here, one line going across like that. So it looks cheaper and more toyish. So I think this is kind of the deal breaker for the Gundam Unicorn, for the Banshee Destroy mode. If you can get over that, this is going to be one hell of a thing. And well, the same here. The good news is, unlike the Unicorn mode, which had a lot of foil stickers going on in the back, this time they gave us an actual part. So in some ways it's a step backwards, but in other ways, like here, it's a big step forwards. Unfortunately, it's that same orange, yellow / gold. But moving on, like I said, all the colors are now identical. We have the gray for the joints, the hands, the accessories, and finally also black for the feet, the backpack, and that's about it. Then for stickers, we're of course not gonna have quite as much as the unicorn mode, but still, we're gonna get a few of them. The two big ones go on the back here. They're shiny foil stickers and are once again different from what we got here. Remove his shield. I just wanted to remove the shield. There we go. Here, this time, this is more a cheaper looking thing, and this time, well, I guess it kind of looks better. But putting that to the side, and from now on, we're just gonna get those tiny marking stickers. We have all the gold ones here on the side, two on here, of course, also on the other side, on the other leg. Then on the back, we have one in there. On the side skirts, we have two on each side skirt. Then the upper part here, that's one sticker. Then the blue on the V-fin, that's a sticker. The eyes are, of course, stickers. What did you expect, really? And then there's also a red sticker behind that one horn here. If you can see it, you can barely make it out, but it's in there for the main camera, which is not at all obscured. And that is all for, oh no, almost all for stickers. We're also getting one very nice clear, a shiny green one for the scope of the Magnum. Then onto articulation, pretty much what you'd expect by now. We've had a lot of these. So head goes up, down, rotates around if you're careful, with this very elaborate, well, I guess I should call them antlers. It's not really appropriate to call them V-fins anymore. So backwards and forwards movement. Arm rotates around all the way once you put it out of the way, and goes up about that far. Then you have an extra joint which allows it to go up all the way like that. So that's some really nice articulation. Put it back. Also goes forwards a bit and backwards a bit. Rotates around. Bends at the elbow at one joint only, which is unfortunate for a main mobile suit. And another thing, I think this is probably mentioned hundreds of times already, but the elbow joint isn't the most secure one, and if you're gonna move it around a lot, it's gonna come apart. So just be careful when posing it. Then hand will wiggle around, turn around, and do everything a ball joint does. Talking about ball joints, we also have one in the waist. So you go forwards, backwards, and we'll just wheel around. And then you have to be careful here and the back skirt, because these things, well, they're technically not supposed to move, but when you're gonna move them around, these things are gonna end up moving around regardless. So just be careful for those two open flaps with extra thrusters in them. Then front skirts are molded together, but as always can be separated. Forwards nicely, backwards about that far, so overall not too bad. And that is another problem of the Banshee. The Beam Sabers, I'll quickly get this out of the way, are held in there entirely by friction. There's no peg to put them into, even though the Beam Sabers obviously have holes, so why not just do the smart thing, put a peg in them where the Beam Sabers would connect to? No, they're only held in there by friction, and that's obviously not nearly close enough, not nearly good enough to hold them in. So where was I? Go out about that far, and they were on ball joints, so we'll also rotate around. Nobody saw that. So we have the usual rotating joint at the hips, jig backwards and forwards, the hole that goes along with it to put it onto an action base, then bends at the knee at, well, technically 2 joints, but when we look at the lower joint, that's about all you're gonna get out of it, so it might as well have been 1 joint, but you can modify it to make it go further and stay in there. So did I mention that the legs kind of like to come off when you're posing it? If I didn't, I did now. Then the flap here goes up and down, feet go forwards, and we have the usual double joint, hinge at the top, ball joint inside, go backwards, side to side, and we'll rotate around all the way. Fly that back in there, and so for articulation, overall, it's, get in there. So articulation overall is acceptable, but nothing exceptional. It's really what you'd expect. It's kind of like the minimal you'd expect from a modern high grade. But let's now get on with something that's a lot more impressive, the accessories. And well, I've already started talking about the Beam Sabers, so let's immediately get the most disappointing thing out of the way right now. So let's see if we can get him to hold this. Yes, I can feel that we're going a couple of decades into the past. And you know what makes these even better? We do not get any beams. Try the other hand. Nope. Try it the other way around, because, you know, these Beam Sabers, maybe they're thicker one way, so no. The Beam Sabers are not gonna go in the hands unless you put a Beam Saber blade in them, and I don't know why there was only a yellow closest to me. So you gotta put a Beam Saber in there, you gotta put a beam blade in it for him to be able to hold on to it. Yeah, so he's quite literally holding the Beam Saber by the blade. That's not how you generally hold a sword or a saber. So sufficient to say these Beam Sabers are a big disappointment on this kit. But the one cool thing the Beam Sabers can do is we have the tonfas on there, so slide them out, and these of course circumvent all the problems of the Beam Sabers. These ones are pegged in there, and actually come to think of it, there are 2 ways to peg these things to the backpack. There's a hole here and a hole there. there are 2 holes to choose from, yet they decided not to peg it in at all. What more did you need? Did you really need... I don't know. So let's just stop talking about the Beam Sabers and, like I said, get on with the real good stuff. Starting off with the Beam Magnum. At first glance, nothing special, just the usual thing. Peg here. Handle that goes out. But the really cool thing is, this Beam Magnum comes with an extra cover piece. You can choose either this, which is identical to this, and then it's just all covered up, revolving Magnum. But when you put in this, you can put in the Beam Jute. And even though we didn't get any normal Beam Saber blades, we did get this awesome looking thing. You put this in there like this. In it goes. And this is a hell of a lot better than the Beam Sabers we got. So pretty much the concept of this is it stops the beam, it stops an enemy attack with a Beam Saber. Probably something like this, you know, you catch it, you don't have time to pull out your Beam Saber, so you just use the Beam Saber that's on your beam rifle. And the really cool thing is this is really designed to catch it, like a claw design, and I don't know, wouldn't this be a great idea for standard equipment for more artillery-based mobile suits, more heavy mobile suits, like the ones that really focus on firepower? More mobile suits should totally do this, and it's really, really nice. And what's also really awesome is the shield, and one hell of a shield it is. This is really nice looking. This is absolutely great. Though, one thing I have to say is, this is kind of a downgrade from what we got with the Unicorn mode. First of all, the Unicorn mode had these movable flaps, wings, but here they're not movable at all. They're not movable at all. Then again, I guess the good thing is they'll always stay in the correct position. Another thing is, we got stickers with the Unicorn mode, but we didn't get any stickers here. Kind of weird they didn't give them, because, well, it's no real stigma to give a lot of stickers with high grades, but they did so anyways. And then for the shield, we of course get a connector to hook it up to the arm, which is one thing we can do. And then we have this giant shield. Turn around, and there goes the Beam Saber again. Just gonna put that to the side and not look at it anymore. Then what we can also do is pull this out, and oh yeah, there's also a hatch here. Well, you can remove this if you put in enough effort, but though at this point I really have no idea how I'm gonna remove that, and that reveals another polycap, and you could also attach it there, so you could hook it up here or attach it to the backpack like that. But I think, yeah, this isn't coming out. So let's just move on with what else we can do. We get this part here, which when we turn it around, we have a hole there. Slide this in there. And there we go. And then we got another thing we can do with the Beam Magnum is flip this open, and then this attaches to the backpack on the place where the shield just was. There. And talking about shields, we get yet another shield, because this is of course a remold of the normal Unicorn Destroy mode, and that one came with this shield, and we get all the parts necessary, even a spare polycap to put it in. The manual doesn't tell you to put this together, but we of course all know that you can do it. And then you just grab this here, and then you can put it on the arm. We even get the part that you'd have to use to attach it to the backpack. So that shield is actually fully featured. And still not everything. There's more to come. We get these two. We get one ammo clip for the Magnum itself, and then this one is for the revolving thingamajig on the end. And you just attach them to the back if you're careful. Try not to knock anything off. Just, there we go, that's one. And then you attach this there. There we go. And like I said, these have been moving around a lot during this review. And that's now all for the accessories that the Unicorn can use, well, that the Banshee can use, but we still get two more leftover parts, and that is this torso. Well, you could also use this instead of this, but then, well, maybe if you don't like the golden color, you could always use this here instead. And, oh no you don't. And we also get this, which is a completely useless part, and I think this was from the full armor, because I haven't seen this part anywhere. And one final thing that you can do with the Beam Jute is remove it and then put it in the hand as a handheld Beam Saber kind of thing. And the funny thing is, just like this, thanks to the design of it, because it's quite thick at the top, it sits in the hand a lot better than the normal Beam Sabers. Though, unfortunately, when you tip it over, it will fall out, because it's not really designed to go in the hand. But you can do it. And talking about Beam Sabers falling out, there is one way to put the Beam Sabers in the hand that they won't fall out. And that is if you don't just put them in there straight, but kind of tilt them, and then they will stay. It's still not, as you can see, the best fit in the world, but at the very least, they'll stay in most poses, unless you're gonna pull off some crazy upside down battle pose. But that's the way you're gonna have to do it. As always, the inevitable question is, do you want to buy this? And well, all of it pretty much boils down to, do you like this orangey gold for the color, for his antlers, and for the parts here on his backpack? Because that's really the only thing that could be off-putting. For the rest, this is a great model kit in total. Yes, the structural integrity, let's put it like that, could have been a lot better, but that is something all of the Unicorn molds have been suffering from. And at the end of the day, when you look at it, it's still a badass looking machine. And well, the structural integrity problems are probably partly due to, well, because there is so much going on and because there are so many little parts, you know, when positioning the legs around, they have to incorporate all of those, well, all of that inner frame. So it's bound to have some problems here and there with all that stuff sticking out and going all over the place. It's not too surprising. So for 2,000 yen, it's 200 yens more expensive than the regular Unicorn Destroy mode, but we're getting a lot more. We're getting that giant shield, we're getting the updated Beam Magnum with the rotating launcher, the Beam Jute, even though it's written Jite or Jite, or however you want to pronounce that. We have those little few extra parts, which, well, if you prefer it like this, you have an extra option. Let's just look at it from the bright side. And, oh yeah, of course, one final complaint about this model kit. No Beam Sabers. No Beam Saber blades, not at all. Not the old ones, not the new ones, and this would have been a great opportunity to include those new, very nice, long Beam Sabers. Those would have gone perfect with those Tonfas or with the normal Beam Sabers. So really the only problems about this is the Beam Sabers don't quite fit into the hands, which is a problem the Unicorns have had. We don't get any Beam Sabers, and the orange gold might, well, I say orange, it's more orangey than the Norn, than the Unicorn mode. It's still very yellow. So those are the only things that could possibly put you off. But when you put all of that aside, you have a very intimidating, very big machine. Just look at it. And overall, very much worth 2,000 yen. We get 2 shields, we get to Beam Magnum, we get to Beam Tonfas, and all of those goodies. So a lot of fun. Now for some other size comparisons, just to put into perspective how massive the Unicorn Destroy mode is. Here he's next to a standard size gem, and look at that size difference. He's just towering over the gem and absolutely dwarfing the James gun. And then finally, to put him next to some other massive machines, we have the Doben Wolf and the Zaku 3. As you can see, the Zaku 3 is blown out of the water. He has some serious competition here. And then with the Doben Wolf, you can see those are some really massive machines. And well, that's all for this review, and see you guys next time.